10 random magic cards rated. Day 105. What's the first card of the day, everybody? I just want to go ahead and jump into it. It's Emeria Angel, everybody. 4 mana, 2 and 2 white for a 3/3 angel with flying and landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can, if you want to, it's a May ability, but a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying onto the table. Apparently, you can get this from Iconic Masters for 30 cents. For 30 cents by Emeria. I'm going to say M Angel. And I'm sure I'll know exactly what the heck I'm talking about later on when I read this. All right, so this is good for 30 to 50 cents, man. I've seen Emeria Angel a few times in my life, but I always forget that it exists. It's a really good card for landfall decks. You know, it's kind of like the 4-mana enchantment that puts cats into play, but it's a lady, and the cats fly, but they're smaller, so it's not at all like that card. It is, it's 4 mana to landfall trigger, put a creature into play. Flying is really good. Do you guys know flying's good? I like Emeria Angel. And even outside of life gain, what? Even outside of landfall decks, the card is probably workable. It'll probably flip that thing down, slip it and reverse it. It's your from wap. Yep. So I think it's just solid in general. Definitely slightly above average. 5.8. Can we do that? Are we allowed to? Yeah, we are. It's my show. 5.8 for Emmy Angel. That's a fine Magic card, Jim Murray. Good job. Originally printed in Zendikar, too, because, you know, landfall. Next is Magnetic Mountain. I used to stare at the art for this card. Back when I was 11 years old, I just started playing Magic like that week, you know, and I didn't know what cards did. So I would read the card and be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't know what that means. So let's see what this actually does 30 years later. This is 1 and 2 red for an enchantment. Blue creatures do not untap as normal. During their upkeep phases, players must spend 4 for each blue creature they wish to untap. This cost must be paid in addition to any other untap cost that's given to a blue creature that they already require. So I'm just letting you know, if they have other untap stuff they got to do that too, okay? Anyway, this is not good. How many blue creatures they got? This is just specifically anti-merfolk tech. If you want this from Arabian Nights and it looks all cool with the black border and the expansion symbol, it's like less than $20 for an uncommon from Arabian Nights. That's not fine. If you want it from Revised, it's a rare and it's 50 cents and it looks cool because it's got this, whatever this like washed out color palette they used for Revised was. I really, really like it. It's beautiful to me, but the card is awful. Like, even as color hosers go, this is pretty hosed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give it like a 1.2. Sure. Next is Sakiko, Mother of Summer. She is the Mother of Summer. Look at her here. Look at her here. Look at her here. Awesome. 6 mana. It's originally printed in Betrayers of Kamigawa, by the way. 6 mana, 4 and 2 green for a 3/3 legendary Snake Shaman. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, add that much green. Till end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases in. This costs about $2 unless you get the Commander Masters one, which is 25 cents. So 27 cents. That's a steep decline, my friend. Yeah, Sakiko's cool, man. This didn't see any play in Standard, but I have heard people like bring it up in Commander every now and again. That is mana. Getting some mana. But there's probably better ways to get mana than a 6 mana Commander. But, you know, at least it comes down and does something the turn it comes into play. You don't have to like wait for it to attack, and that's neat. It's unique, but again, like if we're getting mana in Commander, probably do a little better than this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to give this a 4.7. It costs way too much. It's an unbelievable amount of mana for a dude that can bolt, you know. But we'll move on to Giant Cockroach. Baby, it's Giant Cockroach. It's from Urza's Legacy originally. Cute little guy. I like any card with a moon in the background. I've said that before. Full moon in the background, you got me. Except Giant Cockroach. This is 4 mana, 3 and a black for a 4/2 insect. That's all it does. It's a 1.1. Let's get off this card. Next is Thraximundar, which I believe have we done this card? Maybe we haven't, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not sure. This is 7 mana, 4 in Grixis colors, blue, black, red for a 6/6 legendary zombie assassin. Look at them creature types. Thraxi's got haste, and whenever it attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature. Whenever a player sacks a creature, look at that. You may put a +1/+1 counter on Thrax. So, you know, haste. They have to sack a dude immediately, more or less. and it attacks as a 7/7 because they have to sack a dude immediately. If you have Ishin, Two Heavens is one, somehow, I don't know, neither one of them can be your commander if you're doing that, but if you do have Ishin, suddenly they have to sack 2 guys. He gets 2 counters. It's delicious. Well, no, he'll get 2. But Thraximundar is another commander card I feel like I used to hear about all the time back in the day. No one talks about this little guy anymore. It's really sad. It's very sad. But even, haste usually is like, oh, you never see it coming. And you immediately get the attacks trigger and they're taken by surprise. But I don't know, they're staring at it in your command zone the whole game if it's your commander. You might die before you play this guy. You can see EDH or so. It's just like not going to happen. 7 mana commanders aren't exactly my bag. And I like a unique commander, but when you really think about it, this isn't that unique. Like, oh, they sack a guy when he attacks. Okay. Oh, whenever they sack a guy, +1/+1. Okay. Who cares? I guess you're just putting a bunch of like black effects that make them sack guys in your deck. And that's the whole thing. And I do like edicts, but they're not worth it to play. Am I about to give this a sub 5? Beloved commander. 4.9. Talk to me about it in the comments section. What do you give it? Ask the audience. What is Thraximundar? In today's day and age, it's not Alara Reborn anymore. It's not Commander 2013 anymore. Captain, it is 2024, almost 2025. Are we on this card? Tell me in the comment section what you rate this, because I'm not like, it's not feeling it. I'm really not. Carnivorous Death Parrot is next, an uncard. Don't care. Information Booth, an uncard 2 in a row. I don't think that's ever happened. Wow. Curse of Exhaustion is up next. Cool, a curse. This was only ever printed in Dark Ascension. 4 mana, 2 and 2 white for an Aura Curse. It's an enchantment. It enchants a player. The enchanted player cannot cast more than 1 spell each turn. So a Rule of Law, or if you're a standard kid, a High Noon that costs 5 mana. Or 4. Costs 4 mana. So if you want High Noon to be one-sided, you got to pay double the cost. That makes sense, I guess, right? This is a sweet curse. It really kind of is an uncommon that's held a 35 cents value, which like isn't a lot, but a lot of random uncommons from Dark Ascension are like 10 cents. So it shows a little bit of play, I guess, here and there. It's neat. I wouldn't give it too high of a score, and I'm not going to, but it's a cool effect. In Commander, it's technically like kind of worse than Rule of Law when you think about it, because it only affects one player, whereas Rule of Law, it affects everybody. So you can make the argument this is technically worse in some cases, but I'm still going to give this like a 4.1. That's a little bit of generosity in my opinion. We'll move on to Leonardo da Vinci. There's a Leonardo da Vinci magic card from the Assassin's Creed set. 3 mana, 2 and a blue for a 3/3 legendary human artificer. If you pay 5 of your hard-earned mana, 3 and 2 blue, until end of turn, Thopters you control have base power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. If you pay 2, a blue, and tap Leonardo, so if you pay 3 mana and tap the turtle, you can draw a card, then discard a card. If the discarded card was an artifact card, exile it from your yard. If you do, create a token that is a copy of it, except it's a 0/2 Thopter artifact creature with flying in addition to its other types. So you can pay 3 mana and tap Leo here to basically just drop like a 6 mana artifact onto the table and draw a card. And it's a creature. So it's a really cool activated ability. Although I do think the 2 activated abilities on this card should have been flipped. For whatever reason. I just feel like they would have made more sense contextually if you flip them. Like, the first one gives you Thopters. The second thing cares about Thopters. Ta-da! But, but I guess reading the card does eventually explain the card. Even though you're making 0/2s, right? This thing draws you cards. So you're at least keeping parity in terms of cards in your hand. Kind of gives you board presence and card draw at the same time. And then later when you have like a full grip, like all your Thopters become 7 power flyers. So very sick commander. I do not care that it's a real life figure. I do not care that it's from the Assassin's Creed set. I am mostly trying to rate cards in a vacuum for casual commander, and their source does not matter. So as much as I know some people are going to be like, it's stupid, I still have to rate the card objectively. So I'm going to give this, first of all, it does get the boost for being a fun, unique commander. Words that you hear me say all the time. So get ready for a higher score than you might assume here. I'm going to give Leonardo a 5.7. And if they ever do a Ninja Turtles Universes Beyond, I hope that they just reskin this for Leonardo. But anyway, next is Stromkirk Captain. I always do that. 3 mana, 1 a black and a red for a 2/2 vampire soldier with first strike. Other vampire creatures you control get +1/+1 and have first strike. This was originally printed in Dark Ascension. And it's only been printed a few times, and it's still available for 1 American quarter. That's all. Just a metal token with George Washington's portrait on one side and then something state-specific on the other side most of the time. Is all you have to pay to get this card. That's a beautiful deal. That is an excellent deal, I would say. Great, even. Why is this only 25 cents? I don't understand. It's really, really good. Obviously, this is like a creature type specific card, and those have to grade on like a different scale. But if you're playing this in Vampires, it's very good. You know, I know we want like 2 mana for our Anthem effects a lot of the time, but First Strike is a very serious ability to do. First Strike does not get enough credit for being a terrifying ability. It's so hard to play against, especially considering a number of Vampires also have Death Touch. So, Lego, my ego, Mr. Vampire Man, get out of my neck, man. This is a good card. I'm gonna give this card a 5.3. I am serial podcast right now, dude. This is a good card. Shut up. Next is Zahid, Djinn of the Lamp. Dude, I love you. I really do. I like this card a lot. This is 6 mana, 4 and 2 blue for a 5/6 legendary Djinn. With flying, you may pay 3 and a blue and tap an untapped artifact you control rather than pay this spell's mana cost. So you get a Mohammadi Djinn here, right? A 6 mana, 5/6 flyer. That is Mohammadi Djinn. Iconic dude that's not very good anymore, but you can just pay 4 mana for a 5/6 flyer. How is that not gross, dude? Like, I guess he's legendary. You can't play a bunch of him or anything, but just like, all I have to do is play an artifact on turn 1, 2, or 3, and then I just get a 5/6 flyer on 4. Like, dude, so good. I know he doesn't do anything else, but like, he doesn't have to. Like, this card never saw play in Standard, and that's really sad. This is what he looks like. I remember this promo, but I never owned it. This is Zahid to me. Yeah, man. I still love this card. He looks all like Jafar in Return to Jafar here. Like the lamp especially. The lamp looks especially Return to Jafar to me, or Return of Jafar. But yeah, dude, this is like a 4.8, bro. Stop me. You can't. But let's move on to the final card here. It's Marchesa's Emissary, only printed in Conspiracy. 4 mana, 3 and a blue for a 2/2 human rogue with hexproof and dethrone. So whenever it attacks the player with the most life or who is tied for the most life, this guy gets a +1/+1 counter. So 4 mana, 2/2 hexproof with a not great ability. I guess it's sometimes okay. Hey, it's wearing a hat. It's wearing a hat, and it's not from Outlaws at Thunder Junction. It's neat. It just looks like Marchesa. It just looks like it is Marchesa. But this is like, is it better than it looks? No, this is a 3.8. Hexproof is like one of the best abilities in Magic, right? But not on a 4 mana 2/2. So, I don't know about that, dude. So altogether, not a bad one, man. Good video today. I think we got some sick stuff in there, but I will see you guys again tomorrow, which will be what? Wednesday or something? I don't know. Who knows what day it is? I love you. Bye.